Without further ado, bring up Chris. Chris, welcome back to
Yo.
Open Revolution, sir. What's up, dude?
Yo, good morning. Good morning. What is up, lads? How are we doing today? Good to see you guys.
Good to see you too, man. Doing good. Bitcoin is crossed back over 110. Let's try to get complete the Bitcoin white paper celebration day anniversary today with that consistency to the upside. But how are you guys doing? Obviously, huge announcement yesterday. I think that's a huge move too. Hedera has tons of eyes on it, in my opinion. Maybe not from the everyday crypto native necessarily, but more so from the big, money, corporate backers and stuff like that. How are you guys feeling?
Yo, so happy Bitcoin white paper day. Iconic day. I mean, iconic day. I can think back to so many years at this point where this time in the market, these months, life gets really crazy. So always fun to celebrate, always fun to just kind of tip the hat to the OG. And, it kind of makes Halloween a little bit more fun as well, because you're kind of, celebrating internally in a multifaceted way. Agent Hustle and Hedera dropped yesterday. We've been cooking on that for a couple months. I mean, this is a huge deal. This is an $8 billion blockchain, top 25 blockchain in the entire industry, has been battle tested for years, has some of the biggest and companies and enterprise partnerships in the world. So, I mean, the exposure for Hustle, who's sitting at a $5 million token at the moment, obviously the tech is super powerful, but this is just the very beginning. We're going to continue bringing these kind of further to reach ecosystems, all centered around Hustle, where you can just kind of transact seamlessly throughout all these different ecosystems. So it should bring a lot of value, not only to our community, but to the Hedera community that's kind of maybe a bit siloed, maybe a bit further off from maybe the Solanas, the Ethereums, and even like the Bitcoin runes and those type of ecosystems. So, it's a foundation level partnership. It's not just like a handshake deal. It's, the real thing coming from their biggest accounts. We've been in talks with them for months to make this happen. So the integrations are just getting started, but it's really powerful for us, and it'll be extremely powerful for them as well.
Yeah, I'm curious. Did they reach out to you guys, or did you guys kind of get in their DMs and say, hey, like, this is what we built? I'm just curious and from that standpoint.
Yeah, so I mean, we just kind of have contacts everywhere, but we are busy all the time, so we don't really do too much reaching out personally, because we can barely handle all of our products that we have going on all the time. So we get connected with people where I was taking calls, where I was just getting connected with who would be meaningful, and they came on the docket, and we were super excited to get it going, and they were just as excited. So the synergies there with not only just like their blockchain level partnerships, but the enterprises that work with them and the things that we can automate and kind of bring intelligent execution to is pretty next level. So this is like, I posted a few weeks ago, maybe it's time to start thinking of Agent Hustle as more of an enterprise level AI solution, an agent as a service type of deal, rather than just solely thinking of it as, retail focused and consumer level. So this is a pretty exciting step for all of us.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, right? I've done a lot of research in terms of, who's kind of supporting Hedera in the early days. And I mean, if you look at their board, it's just absolutely nuts. So I think this is a huge partnership for both sides too, because like they need the innovative tech, right? So for their users and things like that. But we did have a question earlier in the show from Stan, which is a great community member and a community member of Hustle as well. And he says, what will Agent Hustle offer with the Hedera Hashgraph partnership? So maybe if you could maybe at a high level break down, what does that look like, I guess, for like Hustle users and Hustle community members?
Yeah, definitely. So it's live right now, the beginning phases of the partnership. So you're able to swap tokens between their biggest ecosystem dApps. You'll be able to use the customized Hustle conditional trading engine to set complex limit orders, stop losses, everything like that, away from keyboard trading as we generally call it. And then we're going to integrate with all their biggest applications pretty much. So in the earliest phases of kind of getting the build outs and seeing what the automations will look like. But I mean, this is, we're really spending a ton of time on this. So if there's anything that's really popular or catching a lot of energy and attention on Hedera, you can expect that will be automated and included in the Agent Hustle build out for sure.
Yeah, and I do love how it kind of looks now, this site. So you kind of head over here, then you kind of go up here, and then you have Ethereum, Hedera, and Solana. And Hedera, you kind of go into, you can go right into swaps right away, and you can swap on the side here, or you can talk to Hustle and have him swap for you. There was something I have to do to get Hustle to start using Hedera. Could you kind of walk me through that?
Yeah, you can just click over to the toolbox. Yep, perfect. And then you'll just toggle on Hedera. There we
Amazing.
go. And that'll
Awesome.
get you access to all the Hedera applications that are live. That list that you just showed, that'll be a lot bigger pretty soon. So you can expect more announcements coming from that end. But basically what people are doing on chain right now, it's the earliest days of the on-chain economy. And what they're doing is they're looking for intelligent ways to find tokens. So you can expect that that will be pretty consistent across all of these different blockchains, whether it's obviously Solana. BNB is the second biggest ecosystem. That integration is well underway, should be coming up pretty soon. And Hedera is going to be pretty big. The thing that is special about Hedera that we really wanted to get this out is that everyone wants to be early to all this stuff. Well, this is an opportunity to be early into a top 25 blockchain that has been really focused on enterprise partners for the last 5, 6, 7 years. And now they're really trying to get their retail and their kind of consumer level user going. And what's the biggest way? What's the only way to do that at this moment? It's to get an on-chain token economy going. So I was there, in the earliest days of pretty much all these ecosystems, and you're always kind of catching a little bit of maybe flack that there's not much activity over there. The TVL might be a little bit low, but that's actually when you want to get involved, because that means that you have the lowest chance of downside and the highest chance of upside, right? So it's really an asymmetric bet that this big blockchain, one of the biggest and most prestigious in the industry, that's been battle tested and survived all of these years so far, is going to continue to exist and thrive into the future. So I think that's a super easy bet for us to make, and we're really excited to be a big part of the growth that's going to happen there.
Yeah, I mean, for sure about Hedera, but also, what gets me excited is the fact that you guys said, BSC is right around the corner as well. And it almost seems like you guys are trying to create this product that is, well, I'll start with this. For me, I've been battling in the trenches, which I'm getting beat up, but everybody is right now.
Got some scars. I'm alive.
Yeah, right. But like the hardest part is to focus on Solana, BSC, and now Spark ecosystem from the Bitcoin ecosystem, and we're all trying to trench, right? You don't want to miss something. But I have to be in, Axiom for one thing. I have to be in my wallet for another, and I have to be, But it seems like what Hustle could be building here is a one-stop shop solution to where I can just deposit amounts in all of my different chain wallets with Hustle and just be like, what's hot right now? And Hustle will be like, okay, these tokens from this chain, this token from this chain, this token, this is running, this is what I see. Is that the end goal here? Because if it is, I think that's going to separate you guys.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's all about making the user experience as frictionless as possible. And so really centering Hustle around all of these different blockchains where he can interact and go and get information, real-time alerts, everything against all these hotspots. Because the attention changes on a dime. And it's really annoying. That's like the biggest hurdle, is to go and boot up a new wallet for a new ecosystem, or find out which applications you need to do to use to track all these tokens. And then we just power it with the AI, which gives us real-time analysis and in-depth research on all of these kind of new products. And it's a very familiar interface as you go from ecosystem to ecosystem. So whether it's Bitcoin or whether it's BNB or some of the other launch partners that will be announced over the coming weeks and months, I think that you'll really start to see everything kind of come together in unison and be centered around one single platform. You're always going to be able to use your favorite ecosystem platforms, whether it's GMGN or Padre that just got picked up by Pump. But you'll kind of use it in tandem with something like Hustle, because those are very static, kind of like dashboard alerts and notifications, where with Hustle you can get a second opinion, or you can even let him drive the car himself, right, based on his analysis. So there's a ton of reinforced learning. So I think that once we really get these ecosystems going, he'll really start to pick up winners and really improve his hit rate as not only from like just the Solana trenches, but as they kind of widen out and broaden out to all these other ecosystems. So pretty cool stuff coming with all the ecosystems that you mentioned, and maybe a few more too.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that too. Like when I first came over here and I saw that you have Ethereum and there, and you have all this room here. I was gonna ask you like what's all this room here gonna be?
Space. Well, it'll be full pretty soon. The cool thing, I mean, the funny thing, Hedera is huge, right? Hedera is massive.
Yeah.
It's a very exciting partnership for us. But look at Ethereum. I mean, that was announced alongside it. All people were more excited about the Hedera integration, which is pretty cool. But both of them are pretty significant partnerships, and both of them will have pretty powerful build outs in the coming weeks. So we have a lot of products in-house. We have MigrateFun, we have the Emblem Vault product suite, and we have Agent Hustle that's just a powerhouse in itself. And obviously MigrateFun has been really, really hot over the last couple of months. And people were like, oh, you guys might be spending too much time on MigrateFun and not enough attention over on Agent Hustle. And that's just really not the case. We're cranking on all the products all the time. And it just shifts, right? It shifts with where the attention is at. You don't really want to divert attention from yourself. That doesn't really make sense. You don't want to just kind of cannibalize your own attention to try and push something new. So just naturally it'll shift between all these different products. Say, meme coins are hot, or utilities hot, or NFTs are hot. We can just kind of cycle between all of our different products. So we're in a very, very strong position.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of Migrate.fun, you guys have a big week coming up. Last week we talked to Jake. He said November 4th was a big day for you guys. Is that still the plan here?
Yeah, teams are going live with the second cohort coming up on the 4th. I think there's a few more announcements to come as well whenever the teams are prepared. But this is, this will be a smaller team. LPs are pretty big. There's a couple big LPs that I think are coming that should announce within the next couple days, unless they postpone, but not that I know of. And there is just a lot happening in the background. So if anyone is just thinking like, oh, migration season, the narrative isn't as strong as it was, the launchpad wars have calmed down, they haven't by any means. And the inbound that we see, the partnerships that we're working on, and just the next stage of the migration meta and the migration narrative, it really hasn't begun yet. So MigrateFun will be making some serious noise here before the end of the year, for sure.
I think it's crazy that you guys started that meta, first of all, right? And I think that you're going to get your due credit, in my opinion, because you guys are the number one servicer. That's going to be a third-party servicer, and once there's more plans that are going to be revealed and stuff like that. But it's crazy, yeah. The migration season, in my opinion, has just started. Actually, it might not be talked about a lot because I don't think teams necessarily love to talk about that topic all the time, but I think there's things that are definitely happening. Let's kind of get a little bit back to the Agent Hustle part of things a little bit here.
Of course.
So for community members right now, like, what would the best piece of advice be for them? Because some of them are kind of like, the market cap this, or, like you mentioned, they're focused on MigrateFun, that, or whatever. Is there something with the overall market that like could change everything? Do you feel like maybe they just need to kind of be patient in that aspect? Or is it more of like a business development thing? If you believe in our business, then you got to wait till we get to that point. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think that at its core, investing in a token is investing in the team behind it directly. And so, I mean, the team is firing on all cylinders. We've never been in a better position. We're the biggest holder of the token. Clearly, that's why we launched the token, is because it aligns us, all of our products and all of our community, alongside the teams, that we all have the same interests to basically get the token to be as used and as popular as possible, right? Yeah, sure. Like, you look at maybe the 402 meta, it was really, really hot, but a lot of those tokens have taken a hit over the last couple of weeks. And people are like, why didn't you join the 402 narrative? It's like, well, first of all, these teams have been building for months and months to hopefully strike fire at some point. You don't really know when the narrative is going to hit. You can just be prepared for hopefully when the next narrative does. So can we integrate 402? Are we working on some cool 402 stuff? Of course, we always are. But you can't really just force yourself into the narrative. And these things have to happen naturally. And that's why we have a really expansive product suite where pretty much anytime there's a pocket that's hot in the market, we have some infrastructure, we have some products that'll be of interest to the different communities. And that's really just the very beginning. Our developers are spread out across MigrateFun, working every single day, spread out across Agent Hustle, working every single day. And then Shannon's back on Emblem Vault and overseeing everything else. There's some super cool stuff coming with Emblem Vault pretty soon that I think people will be pretty interested in. And I just think that the products themselves are so big and so consuming. It's kind of hard to grasp the potential of all three of them working in tandem. And so, we're in a volatile industry. This is the most volatile industry on the planet, but that's what you pay for. That's what you sign up for. If you don't want the volatility, if you don't want the risks and the kind of, the experience of being early and trying to take bets on these super early teams, then there's plenty of other industries. I don't really know what to tell you. There's been some chatter, and it's all just comes with the territory. You live with the ups, you live with the downs, and you just operate in the middle. It's another day. Nothing really changes internally. We're just going to continue building the future. But like some people are like, why would you just launch it? Why did you launch a token? You should just be a product company. And I would look at that as like being like a vegan that works in like a meat industry. Like the whole product, the whole innovation of crypto is to launch a token for incentives and coordination between you, your teams, your products, and your community. And so for us to not take part in that and give our users and our community members and all of our fans an opportunity to invest in us at the earliest stages, they can ride out the whole journey with us. That would be a total misfire on our part. So we're super comfortable with where we're at. We're excited about the position that we're at. And I think the future is brighter than ever.
Yeah, I think you answered that perfectly, and I think you guys actually handled the X402 meta perfectly, because I did see some teams that were related to AI that were just saying, putting posts out like, our X402 plan is coming out next week or something. You guys are kind of like, well, we have thought about this actually for a while, and things in the background. So I think you guys handled that perfectly. So that's what you want, because you don't want to fake it.
Real quick on that too, we have a lot of stuff that's being built every single day, and you can't just like throw everything away just to jump on a narrative that you don't know how long it'll last. Like the privacy meta is going big. Should we just transition to being a full-time privacy company overnight? And then when that dies off for the time being, then we'll just transition to another one. No, you just have to stay steadfast and where you're pretty confident in the market is going. And we've continued to be right over and over again. And I think that trajectory will continue. So like I said, I really can't stress it enough. I mean, the company has been through a lot. The team has been through a lot of ups and a lot of downs over the years. This is by far the best position that the company has ever been in. Like, it has never been closer. So price gets dislocated from progress, and the progress is substantial.
Yeah, 100%. And I said, you said something that I always say. I don't invest in projects. I invest in teams, right? So no matter what the team is building, that one token now is a part of that, which is absolutely amazing. I mean, I feel like you guys having a token is like amazing for people who are watching you from afar and can kind of take, basically, hey, I'm investing in this. I think I'm making the bet that these guys are going to win, and seeing Agent Hustle, seeing MigrateFun, and seeing Emblem Vault, and now you're here kind of telling me that Emblem Vault could be the biggest out of the three, and Agent Hustle just got signed with Hedera, right? So it's pretty wild to think about in that. So looking at all three projects, being a part of that team, is it ever just like overwhelming for the team, or is it just like,
no.
I can't imagine a meeting where it's just like, all right, let's jump to this and this. Is it pretty crazy?
No, I mean, this is exactly what we want to do. This is what we're built for. This is what we've been building towards. Every day is a new adventure, and we're just here to take it by the horns. This is what we signed up for, and the team is small, but we're mighty. And this is what we want to do. We're here to prove everyone wrong. We're consistently an underdog, and that's okay. But you get comfortable being uncomfortable, and we're building the future. So today it's a Agent Hustle partnership with Hedera. That doesn't mean that there's not an Emblem Vault partnership with Hedera to come. You know what I mean? And so it's an easy way to kind of Trojan horse all of our different products to all these different enterprise partners that maybe one fits their needs today, but they don't know what else is available in the product stack. You guys were
I
talking.
didn't even think about that. That's crazy. That like now you have an open door to these guys. Now it's like, hey, check out this product.
I would say that we're pretty much in contact with almost all major teams along the way. So pretty much anyone you can think of, we've talked to, we're talking to, or we're working on stuff together. So a lot to come. You guys were talking earlier how, meme coins are just so tough, right? It's, one wrong move and the token goes to zero. The Binance intern post that the robot's shutting down, the token goes to zero. Our community isn't the biggest, but it is there is a lot of diehard fans and community members and holders that have been with Shannon or part of the Shannon cult that we call them, or, some of the early emblem days, or even just fans of Agent Hustle and beyond. So a lot of people take bigger positions in something like Hustle because they know we're going to show up every single day. They know that we're not going anywhere. We've survived all the ups. We've survived all the downs. We're going to continue to weather all the future storms. But it's rare that you can kind of get early on something and take pretty big bets that have higher probability chances of figuring it out. And we've always been a team that's been able to figure it out. And before, we're not VC funded. So funding was kind of always the biggest issue, right? Where's the next check going to come from? But as in terms of our treasury, in terms of like our finances, in terms of our surface area and our coverage and our contacts, we've never been stronger. So this is the most exciting time to be here.
Yeah, and also like and how you get there is by creating revenue generating products, right? And so I mean, and you guys have, and it was the best products that are created, in my opinion, are products that the companies create for their own pain point, and that's exactly what happened with MigrateFun. And you guys started a meta, like a actual migration season. And so that just gives me even more confidence in your ability as a team. And also one of the biggest things that I think like changed everything was the fact that you guys are all positioned. Each and every one of you guys are all positioned perfectly where you need to be in charge of this, Adam be in charge of that, you're in charge of this, Jake in charge of that, and then Shannon, Shannon got to do what he's always wanted to do for the longest time, and that was what he thrived at, and that's building things, coding, and stuff like that. So would you agree with that? Do you feel like the structure of the company is probably in the best form right now?
Yeah, it's very natural the way that it flows, and everyone is kind of like owning their own territory while owning any kind of gaps between those territories as well. So we all work on everything, but some of us are more I'm more focused on something like the Emblem Vault side. Adam's more focused on more of like the MigrateFun side. Jake's more focused on the Agent Hustle side. But we all kind of mix and match and are always there to support each other. And then Shannon is just the best at just like product development, kind of working on like the next generation of the company and where the future is going. And so, I mean, I can't even stress it enough. Like the team is absolutely firing. We couldn't be more excited about where we're at. And there's just opportunities, if maybe we were the only DeFi AI platform that got hit hard with the market turn down, then maybe it would make more sense for some people to be up in arms. But I mean, look across the ecosystem, everything's down 90%. Some of these tokens are down from $500 million market caps to like 18 million or 15 million, So it's all relative. I'm not saying that that's an excuse for any tokens to be down. Obviously, we don't want our community to be in any sort of pain or turmoil, but it comes with the territory. Nothing just goes up in a straight line. Bitcoin's faced savage price drawdowns. Ethereum's faced savage price drawdowns. Solana went from $250 to $8. I mean, was the product dead? No, it was more alive than ever. So, I mean, just price gets, everyone is always focused on price, but you need to look a little bit deeper and look at the actual development that's happening. And I mean, we have development going on in every single ecosystem and big developments. So the amount of users that are going to come online, pretty exciting. And, we're just going to continue shipping new things. And this is the best time to be a hustler.
Yeah, 100%. And like people have to understand too, hey, Anon, which was looked at as, the top project in the space in Agent Hustle, the same category, really. It went from, 70 million, I think it's sitting around like maybe a little higher than Hustle at this point, right? Like it got beaten down so bad, and it was looked at as something that's absolutely huge. And I think Hustle, I think Jake was telling us, has even more users than Anon at this point. So especially now that you guys are gonna be adding Hedera and Ethereum. So yeah, 100%. We have some questions here. My guy Stan says, he said, Chris mentioned enterprise. Is Agent Hustle hinting towards a BlackRock, Google, Amazon, or partnership? What do you think? Would you like to partner with any of these guys?
I don't know. Is that the crypto ethos? Like, do we just want to be a BlackRock AI? I don't know. We'll see. But these are the earliest days of partnerships. But I think that what's exciting is that not all of these companies want to build their own on-chain execution environments and on-chain transaction layers and automation levels. So maybe, something like the Agent Hustle SDK is something that will really come to the forefront over the next coming months, right? As some of these partners just see that they can plug into our infrastructure really seamlessly and go right to market without too much internal building. So I think there's a lot more substance there than people would realize for like a $5 million market cap token at the moment.
Yeah, real quick though, what's the pitch? He wants to know, could Chris share a snippet of the sales pitch to these guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think that most likely, the majority of the time, we're just so confident that one of the biggest hindrances to blockchain adoption is the wallet infrastructure and how complex it is for all these different users and how much friction there is to go from blockchain to blockchain. And it's very easy to understand a simple chat interface where you have ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or any of these AI platforms that have millions up to billions of users monthly that are interacting in that way. So why would we try and reinvent the wheel and force feed, an interface that people just don't really like? They've proven that they don't like the crypto interface, but they do like the AI interface. So why don't we bring the AI interface to crypto, plug it into all these different ecosystems? Not only do you get an easier natural language text to transact interface, but you also get intelligent execution. You get secondary analysis. You get research at your fingertips. So it's like 100x or 1000x improvement on the current infrastructure. It's really not that hard of a sell. It's pretty obvious once you kind of see it and explain it.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And it could actually walk people through it. Like if you're just like a complete noob and you're just like, okay, like how do I get money? And you Hustle, Hustle will be like, okay, we'll just send Solana over to this address or et cetera, right? So I do think that's going to be the end game. And I think that Hustle can definitely be at the forefront of that. And it seems like that's the direction you guys are going in, one-stop shop. I would love that. Absolutely. I don't have to keep, using all these separate tools. You can use your research tools, like you said, GMGN and stuff, but doing the buying and execution part, I want to do all that in one spot. And I just don't have that right now. And so I'll definitely be using that when you guys integrate that. But I'm curious, you do have a background in the TradFi industry as well. So I'm curious about your overall kind of, not necessarily macro, but I guess our market outlook to finish out this year. You have really good insight with that. Are you looking for, them to do a final flush out with leverage, and then we have this walk up to finish out the year with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then some alts? Or do you think we're going to have a tough time to finish out the year?
I'm bullish. I'm bullish. I think this flush out was pretty needed. You had every amateur ever hopping on high leverage perps that they've never even touched before for the first time, trying to farm points on Aster and every other secondary platform that came up to compete with hype. So that was like a doomsday trap for every meme coin trader that thought that they were going to be the next big perp trader, right? Everyone got liquidated one go. It was mostly altcoins though, right? The majors didn't really get hit too hard. They kind of recovered pretty quickly. I think Bitcoin was at 116 and now it's at 110. Maybe it was at 120, but still holding up relatively well. So it was mostly retail crypto natives that kind of got wiped out, mostly just altcoin traders and everything like that. But the big money is in TradFi, right? So the stability, I think, is still there. I don't think that they got rinsed. I don't think that they're betting on Mudang on 50x leverage or something like that. As far as I know, they could be, but I don't think that that's the case. And historically, this is the best time of year to be in crypto, right? You see a ton of fall and winter rallies going into the new year. And then I think that you have midterms coming up. So I think everything is kind of on pace for not only just from a federal government level, but for all markets to kind of really fire on all cylinders. You have a president that's in office that has a keen eye on the stock market all the time. He sees that as probably the biggest trigger for his success, right? That's what he kind of wins people over. And if the stock market does fall, I think people are in a rough shape already coming off of like 2020 and just like the broader economy. I think that it shows that like travel is already down, consumer spending is already down, prices are already high for, food and utilities and everything else. So I think it can be pretty ugly if it turns, but I think that everyone has every incentive to make sure that it does not turn, at least for the next 6 months. You do have to be cognizant that these ETFs came on board last year at like when Bitcoin was, $20,000. So a lot of these ETFs got seeded at 25K, 30K, 35K. And, they put tens of billions of dollars to work. And that money is up 5X, 6X, 7X. And for an institution that's deploying, deca billions of dollars, those are massive gains. So always have to be cognizant of, tax harvesting and selling going into the new year. But I think that the positive outlook and the incentives outweigh the negative outlook. So I'm not really changing any positions here or any future outlook.
Yeah, 100%. And you mentioned ETFs. Obviously we have the Bitcoin, Ethereum, but this week we got 3 other ones. We got a HBAR, we got a Litecoin, and we got a Solana. What's your take on this? And do you see this being something that could be a catalyst for a bull run coming out?
The way that I see it is more of just consistent bids that kind of really support the market. I don't see it going on any substantive runs solely because of these ETFs. I see it more as like a supportive bid as, these everyday Americans take, 5% or 10% of their 401k and diversify it into some of these ETFs. So you'll have more of a consistent bid. But with like these digital asset treasuries and everything else, it kind of took, it already added that kind of traditional way of exposure to these mainstream market participants. So I don't really see it as being a giant catalyst, but I do think it's a genuine next step to being a really supportive feature within the market itself. So I think a lot of these drawdowns will get kind of muted. I think it's always going to be crazy. You're always going to get those 10-10 leverage flushes once a year or twice a year because we're apes. And, you give someone a bar that goes up to 150x leverage. A lot of people are going to take that. They're not really ready for that kind of responsibility. They don't really know what they're doing. Or maybe they're just hyper gambling and they do know what they're doing. But I think those leverage flushes are natural and I think that they're needed. And I think that as just, we bring these markets to more traditional finance era markets, I think you're going to get a consistent bid. And I think that's really supportive for the maturity of the whole ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I love having you on, is because you do have that like deep insight of like the macro and just kind of the investing world. Yeah, so the meme coin traders that made all that money earlier this year, late last year, I guess they got overconfident and said, okay, look, memes are getting harder. Let's take this to the blue chip leverage world. And they found out quickly. So what's you said you're going to kind of stay in your positions. Do you feel confident with that? Is it your long-term vision is just, look, I believe in the space, I work in it, and look, this is what I'm going to do?
Yeah, I mean, I'm overexposed, I'm man, what was the saying? Like ridiculously long or whatever. Ralph Paul.
Shizzy, you used to say it. What was it?
Yeah, it's
go ahead.
something. What is it?
I thought it was like, I'm not broke, I'm overexposed or something like that. I forgot what you
No,
said.
Shizzy has it.
Okay.
It's something.
Irresponsibly long or something like that.
Irresponsibly long, yeah.
And yeah, I think that, I bet my career on this industry. I bet my life on this industry at this point. I've given up pretty much everything to be here every single day. It's kind of the opportunity that, every generation wishes that they had. And so it's really, you're doing yourself a disservice if you're kind of splitting your time elsewhere. And if you believe in the future of the industry and the impact that it can have. So, I mean, I come here every single day. I've been doing it for the better part of a decade, and I don't think I'm going anywhere soon. So, but I do have to say that survival is priority number one. You can't continue if you don't survive. So you can't just put your whole portfolio in the latest, 2-day-old meme coin and hope that you're going to survive over the next decade. So pick your bets, pick strong teams and strong products. And I think that you're going to do really well. We lose sight of how expansive and exponential this industry can be. You look at this past week, NVIDIA hit $5 trillion in market cap. Bitcoin is like $2 trillion in market cap. So you're looking at one US tech company versus a global monetary system that's, and that's worth 2x, 2.5x times the market cap of Bitcoin. You look at gold, that's like, I don't know, what's that? It was at 30 trillion last time I looked. That's 15 times higher than a new digital global monetary system. So it's so easy to look at these people making like, oh, you made $80,000, or that guy, became a millionaire last week because he invested in the Lynx Fox, the white Lynx Fox or something like that. But if you really just make substantive and concentrated bets on teams and really innovative products and builders that you think are going to withstand the turndowns and the storms, I think that there's no better place for those high potential exponential gains that people are really looking for.
Yeah, man. 100%. And then Stan has a question here. We did talk about the X402 a little bit. He says, do we see does the Agent Hustle foresee a X402 use case? The only use case I see for Agent Hustle and X402 is, instead of me paying a subscription model, if I was able to pay like 7 cents per prompt. Do you see maybe a day where I potentially could, not go to subscription model, but if I want to use this, I just, I could pay with Solana. It's already in my wallet.
Yeah, I think that there's those kind of use cases. I think there's agent to agent payment use cases that maybe people aren't really too hard. So whether, although Agent Hustle may be pretty expansive, covering a lot of surface area between a lot of different ecosystems, there might be other powerful AI agents that are within those ecosystems. And so what kind of collaborations, what kind of payments, what kind of transactions and partnerships can be kind of achieved like that. And I think that we're just going into really an autonomous world. So having the ability to really power autonomous streaming payments is really powerful. And there's definitely some pretty exciting things that we're exploring in that range.
Yeah, I can actually give an example of that. So if Polymarket is integrated into Hustle at some point, and there's the agent to agent.
That's
okay. So when it gets integrated, and there's an agent to agent market, and you're like, hey, Hustle, I want some in-depth data on MBA because I want to get into this Polymarket bit, but I need some good in-depth data. Hustle could go into that agent to agent market, look for the data agent that pulls all the statistics for whatever, et cetera, pay the micropayment, pull that data, and then Hustle can help you with that data to help you kind of guide you. Is that maybe an example that makes sense in that case?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And just really iterating that the future is protocols and not really companies, and headless protocols where you just spin something up and it's like almost like a DAO structure where it's really just kind of continuously running itself. And if it's able to stream payments between different protocols, it really just elevates the entire industry, right? There's such a bottleneck within accepting and delivering online payments for kind of autonomous figures or autonomous agents. And 402 really helps kind of deliver on that vision. And I think you'll see more of that soon. But, we don't just rush things to market just to kind of catch the narrative. We kind of craft our strategy. We build the things that we need to build, and we deliver them to the market when we're ready, or we think that the market is the most ready for them. So we're always cooking a ton of stuff, and sometimes we're not able to hit, right when the market is ready for it, but other times we are. So you can't always bet 1,000, but we're betting pretty good. Pretty happy with the trajectory so far.
Yeah. And Stan wants to know if you're building any Agent Hustle merch. Is that going to be something that we're going to see in the future?
Yeah, the community definitely likes it. We've talked about it before. We go to a couple conferences a year. We'll be going to a few next year as well. So find us and you'll get some Agent Hustle merch.
Nice. I definitely want some merch. I always try to get as much merch as possible at the conventions. But is there anything that we haven't really hit on with any of the product suites at with Emblem, Migrate, Hustle so far? Any updates or anything you want to cover?
I think that we can talk about more Agent Hustle integrations. Just that building in the AI sector, crypto AI sector, it's so early, and it's so powerful because these models are really just being built out with hundreds of billions of dollars in capex between all these different major companies. So not only are the models getting exponentially bigger and better every month, but then you have the Agent Hustle build out that's getting better and better every single month. So genuinely, it's exponential growth times exponential growth. And just to be at like the maturity level of the build where we're able to expand, we're able to take on new accounts, we're able to grow our users, even at this stage. I mean, I think when we're going to look back on this in like 1 year's time, the progress is going to continue to be pretty significant. And we're really going to be like, wow, those early days were so powerful, but look at where we are today. And then, you guys are obviously from the Bitcoin ecosystem, spend a lot of time in that area. And I think we have some super cool stuff, not only from the Emblem Vault side coming up, but also with the Agent Hustle side. So really significant partnerships and integrations coming there. And I think that, we're huge fans of the Bitcoin ecosystem, the Runes ecosystem, Ordinals, and we're always looking for ways to kind of support and grow and develop within that industry, in that area. And I think it's like a month and a half away, but we have some super cool integrations. I think that everyone in the Bitcoin ecosystem will get a solid taste of Hustle and be able to integrate it into their everyday use cases and kind of analysis pretty much every day. So maybe 45 days or so until that comes to life.
Love it. And who knows, if the Spark ecosystem within Bitcoin takes off, that's always something that you guys could consider as well, because it'll be a part of it. And that's kind of how I view it. It's like, Hustle will have like the Bitcoin ecosystem tool set and package, dealing with these assets and stuff like that. So I think 6 months down the road, like Hustle is going to be a completely different, like extremely versatile product. And I can't wait for that. I'm like a kid in Christmas. 6 months later.
Yeah. I mean, 6 months goes by quick. It is like an eternity in crypto, but it does happen overnight as well. But he's a powerful agent on Solana. He's going to be a powerful agent on Hedera. He's going to be a powerful agent on Bitcoin. He's going to be a powerful agent within all these different ecosystems. And maybe some people will only use him for those specific blockchains and areas of the market, but you can always toggle on the other features and get it all in one single interface. So that's super exciting. As far as something like MigrateFun, I don't think that people are really, we weren't putting together the whole development and maturity of the migration space and what it really can be, right? You have these launch pads come and go frequently, and we're still at the earliest phases of it, right? We don't even have any kind of traditional level launch pads where like maybe instead of ICO or IPOing, you have like a CME group launch pad or something like that. And so there's always going to be these migrations that are going to want to take place, not only between these launch pads, the new ones, the old ones, and everything that's to come, but to your own liquidity pool too. And so at some point, we believe that, there's always going to be teams that want to venture off into and take full control of their liquidity and maybe migrate off of launchpads for good into their own liquidity pools. And so there's a lot of benefits being on a premier launchpad, but there's a lot of benefits being on your own as well. And so I think that just, the trajectory of the industry, you're always going to have like one or two, maybe 3 or 4 really, really big launchpads. And then you're going to have a lot of teams that choose to kind of control and operate their own liquidity, which means that they'll probably be launching on launchpads and going and venturing off onto their own LPs when they develop fully. And MigrateFun is just really in such a strong position. We're about to complete our 20th migration, right? 21, I think. So that's pretty much before anyone else has completed a consumer-facing migration. So just like the level of experience and the dollar amounts that we've migrated so far, second to none, fully audited platform. I don't believe that anyone else has an audited platform either. So we're on version 3, maybe going on version 4 soon. And most teams aren't even have a version 1 platform to market. So the lead there is palpable, but we're always collaborative. We're excited for anyone else to come to market. We're never like gatekeeping any of these segments within the market. We welcome any competition and anyone else kind of building in the space to really grow the narrative. But the lead that we have right now is pretty significant.
Yeah, it's almost like what Jake says, you know, launch pads or training wheels. It helps you get started, create a community around your token, grow, but then eventually you kind of grow out of the launch pad, right? You kind of grow out of that, and you know, instead of getting a portion of the fees, why not get all of the fees, right, from the liquidity pool? So that's why you would go to something like Radium or Pump Swap on your own, right, without giving anyone anything, in that sense. And you can set your fee. You can set your fee to 2-3% if you want to, depending on what you want. And you can do something where, you know, you want to do a buyback and burn with 1% of the fee, or whatever. That'll be up to you. But that's getting off the training wheels and kind of getting you into your own token. Very similar to what you guys did. I mean, you guys started on the launch pad, and then eventually, you know, grew out of your training wheels and became this big thing. And you get a rebrand on top of that. You get to rename it. Maybe at the beginning you named it something silly, and now you want to get into more of a structured company. You know, and that's kind of when you kind of get into that phase too. So there's many reasons, not only to go from Pump Swap to this swap or whatever, but there's many reasons to kind of use you guys, and you can potentially go from stay in the same pool and just change the data, right?
Yeah, I think that you touched on a really important point, which is there's a variety of reasons that people will always need to migrate, whether it be, you know, they need new metadata, they want to rebrand, they want to move off of where they're from. So, you know, these tokens are immutable. That's why we build in this industry. That's why you launch a token. And with that comes responsibility that and the kind of hindrance at times where if you outgrow it, you can't really change it. And so the only way to do that is with a full migration. So the platform is becoming extremely seamless. We've worked out a ton of edge cases over the last few months. And so just like really being hands-on with these teams and learning exactly what they're migrating for and kind of working to fulfill each team's needs, which are all a little bit different, puts us in a pretty strong position to understand what the market wants and how many like levels of depth it really needs for a platform like that. But I think that migrations are just going to continue. I think they're going to get way bigger than we can ever even imagine, just because the ecosystem is going to get so much bigger than we can ever imagine. You know, there's so many different launch pad. Like we're only talking about Solana at the moment, basically. We're talking about Bonk. We're talking about Believe is on the timeline a lot today, for good or for better or for worse. We're talking about Pump Fun. That's one blockchain and a few launch pads in it. You know, all of these, look at Hedera. They launched Meme Job. They have Saucer Swap, which is kind of their DEX. Binance has 4, right? 4 Meme. All of these different blockchains are building the infrastructure for these token launchers, and they're going to have competition within themselves. So I'm sure someone will spin up a rival to 4 Meme. That's the biggest one on Binance. And then you'll have a little bit of the same. Where are the incentives? Or do I want to go on my own liquidity pool? So all these ecosystems are going to get bigger. And there's always going to be a need for people wanting to migrate or move to the next thing or take control over the liquidity, whatever it may be. And I look at it as, you know, thinking back to the earliest days of the internet, and you think like, oh, like, you know, companies were going parabolic because they were launching websites, they were getting online. But for the most part, a lot of people are like, why would I launch a website? Right. And now, like, you have to have a website. It's just that is the standard. So we're looking at tokens like a lot of people in this industry are like, why would I launch a token? But they're not really fully understanding that everything is going to be tokenized in the future. And this is just the earliest days for it.
100%. You know, my background is digital marketing. It's over 10 years in the corporate world until Shizzy and I did this full time. And I see the alignment. You know, the token, if used correctly, is such a powerful marketing tool in this industry. You know what I mean? To get because, you know, people in this industry, they want to see opportunity. In the past year, it's been hard to find new ones and all these things that have the teams. But if you find that through like finding their token, then, you know, I think that's where the opportunity is. But yeah, awesome. I can't wait to see what else Hustle has coming up to finish off the year and early next year. But Shizzy, did you have anything else before we wrap it up? I wanted to give Chris the mic one more time, you know, just to kind of send us out here.
Yeah, man, it's always great to catch up with you guys. Appreciate all the support and everything that you do. So thanks for showing up with us every single day and every single week. I think that just maybe the most underrated aspect of, which is funny at this point, is just of our company is Emblem Vault. So keep an eye on Emblem Vault. Look for some updates coming there. We can't spoon feed and force feed the NFT meta to come back, but when it does, nobody's positioned better than Emblem Vault. And, at its core, Emblem Vault is a tokenized wallet that allows NFTs and fungible tokens to trade between blockchains, right? And you're seeing more and more blockchains spin up. You're seeing more and more blockchain assets spin up on those blockchains. And eventually all of those assets are going to want to move interconnected onto all these different blockchains. And Emblem Vault is the best solution for it. So thinking of what NFTs are today, maybe they're digital monkey pictures, maybe they're JPEGs. What are they going to be in the future? Whether they're going to be, cars or houses or RWAs like watches and luxury goods, right? All those can be wrapped into an NFT and traded between different blockchains and custodied in different ways. So, our product suite is really expansive, and the products themselves can be so big. But as a whole, it's a behemoth in the making. So, couldn't be more excited to, wake up every morning and build this out. And I think that, a lot of this stuff is going to be really, really obvious in hindsight. And if you're here, you're early. You did the hard part. Just hold on and make your bets and weather the storms with us, because we're not going anywhere.
Absolutely. And no better team to do that, the NFT cross-chain stuff. They set the meta for that actually last cycle. You guys are the, pioneers of that, and also this migration season. So super excited for the future of Emblem altogether. Appreciate you, Chris, for joining us. Someone from your team comes every Friday. We're so appreciative of that. And so is the community. I know that. And we appreciate your time, and have a great weekend, sir.
Appreciate you guys. We'll talk soon. Take care.
All right.
Thanks, Chris. See you both. Absolutely awesome. I love Friday's my favorite day of the week, man. Getting to talk to those guys and kind of seeing, picking their brains and what they're thinking, not only with their project, but in the markets as well. And Chris is somebody who, I really respect when it comes to TradFi. He's been spending a lot of time there. I think Jake was messing around and he said he's been trading stocks since he was 12 or
6.
something. 6. Yeah. So that was awesome. Absolutely awesome. I appreciate Chris and the time that he gives. But that's our show today. That's our week this week. That's our month, right? So October is in the books, our last show of the month. I really appreciate you guys hanging with us. We know it's been hard. We know it hasn't been easy. But we're going to get to easy mode soon, right? It's time to turn this thing around, get into easy mode. But I appreciate every single one of you guys.
Absolutely. That's the hope, right? It's kind of, I will say this though, if you stick through this and we come out on the other side, you're gonna be so much stronger and learn so much. So sometimes Susie and I just sit there after like a show, we're just like, oh man, like emotionally, like we're just beat up. And then we're like, someone always says, well, look how much we've learned this year. It's almost to kind of just get the positive energy going, but it's true. We continue that conversation. We're like, yeah, absolutely. Like when we get into this position next time, then we can react this way or that way. And you got to take every situation as a learning situation. And that's what we're going to do. So hopefully you guys can join us in that journey, but we appreciate you guys for hanging with us on a Friday. Bitcoin's kind of dancing around right now, but you know what? Bitcoin's going to take care of itself eventually. So, go enjoy the weekend. We appreciate you guys for supporting us and watching us. Without you guys, we couldn't do this. And we're so appreciative of that. But also without our partners, we couldn't do it. And so if you could check them out, we'd be, really thankful for that. SAS Terminal is the DEX aggregator swap for the entire Bitcoin ecosystem. If you're looking to swap for Bitcoin runes, alkanes, or now Spark tokens, and I saw a comment that said things are sparking. Maybe it's back on. I don't know. But if so, you can actually swap from their DEX, right? You can swap for some of the Spark tokens that migrated already, as they have added access to that, right? And you're going to earn Amber points whenever you swap on their platform. Amber points are going to go towards a give back for early adopters. You earn a bonus of Amber points the first time you connect your Bitcoin wallet to their platform. So make sure you're doing your swaps at satsterminal.com. Also, they have an amazing Bitcoin product that you can borrow against your Bitcoin, so you don't have to sell it before it makes its historical run up to new all-time highs. Whether it's the end of this year or early next year, you can get some stables through SAS Terminal against your Bitcoin, so you don't have to sell it. And they use the best partners, vendors in the business. So head over to sasterminal.com to learn more about those products. And then Emblem Vault is the interoperability layer of the Bitcoin ecosystem. You just heard from Chris himself. They are the go-to product if you want to jump your Bitcoin ordinals or NFTs like Rare Pepe's, counterparty NFTs over to Ethereum. You can actually take a loan out against your Taproot Wizard right now on the Gandhi application, which is the largest borrowing and lending platform in the Ethereum ecosystem. So you want to take advantage of that. Also, they're going to add other layers in the ecosystems to Emblem Vault to be able to bridge your ordinals and NFTs too. And one of those environments is Solana. That is on the roadmap. And speaking of Solana, they have the best AI product in the Solana ecosystem with Agent Hustle.ai. There is a free subscription level. You are limited to a certain amount of prompts, but if you want more prompts and more tool sets, you got to level up to the paid subscriptions. And so if you use the Hustle token, you actually get a discount. And the Hustle token is the single token that powers the entire Emblem ecosystem. And so look, Hustle can find some gems in the Solana ecosystem for you, which right now you need any help you can get. I'll tell you that from experience. And then also there's a conditional trading engine built within Hustle. So you can set some, buy and sell limit orders on meme coins, which you can't normally do, right? So Hustle can take care of that for you while you're at the grocery store, at the gym, whatever you need to do. So make sure you're checking that out. And then there is another product within the ecosystem called MigrateFun. If you launched a token on one of the launch pads in Solana, PumpFun or Bonk.fun, and you want to migrate to the other launch pad or to another one because there's multiple within the ecosystem, or you just want to manage your own LPs like Shizzy was talking about earlier to get more fees back, then you got to go through MigrateFun. They are the largest provider. I think they're pretty much the only one that's reputable, in my opinion, to be able to help you guys migrate, right? They already finished their first cohort. I think they had 14 teams, maybe more than that, but the second one is starting to load up as well. Some big brands as well going into that second one. So check them out. Go to MigrateFun, contact them. They walk you through the entire journey. So it's from what I'm hearing review-wise, great experience. Everything went smooth in the first cohort. So see if you can jump on that second one. And if not, probably get on to that third one. But head over to MigrateFun to learn more. And then also head over to emblem.vision to learn about their entire product suite. And then there is Merlin Chain, which is uniting Bitcoin's strength through the power of AI. They also have an AI, a tool called the Wizard version 2.0 that can allow you to swap cross-chain. You can actually swap if you have Merlin Bitcoin in your wallet for Solana tokens or BSC tokens as well. But it can guide you through the Merlin Chain ecosystem and do DeFi functionality for you there. You can do swaps and you can also stake. And speaking of staking, they have a proof of stake security model there at Merlin Chain. And there's 3 ways for you guys to participate. The first way is staking your Bitcoin to earn more Bitcoin. Everybody and their mom is looking for this type of product, a solid product. Their first staking vault ended September 30th. It is a 3-month lockup, and they earned about 17% on average APR for staking Bitcoin, which is absolutely nuts. And so the second staking vault is open, and it goes until January 8th. And they're going to be shooting for that similar number of APR, a range between 8 and 21%. So go to merlinchain.io and click stake to learn more about that. Then there's 2 other options for the Merlin Chain token staking. The first one is the flexible, which is a day-to-day. You earn a 15% APR on that one. You can claim your rewards every single day. You can roll them up into a compound interest strategy if you'd like, or you can just sell it down, hold it in your wallet, whatever you want to do. But if you want to withdraw from the flexible, there's a 7-day cooldown period, just so you guys know. Don't freak out. That's just a part of their protocol. And then the last option is the bonded option, which is a 6-month lockup of the Merlin Chain token. And you earn 45% APR with this one. You can roll it up in a compound interest as well. You can actually claim these daily. Same kind of deal with the flexible, except for this is a 6-month lockup period for your Merlin Chain tokens. So just know that, but you earn 45% APR. And then, so that's it with the proof of stake, staking vaults that you guys can participate in. But head over to merlinchain.io, learn about their ecosystem, and stay up to date by following them on X as well. They're constantly updating. They're getting more and more hype, just like Emblem. We're really proud of our partners because they're very solid in terms of like business fundamentals, the way that they approach things. So we appreciate you guys for checking out our partners.
Yeah, in there as always. And if you guys have a few more minutes and wouldn't mind checking out onchainrevolution.io, some of the best articles dating all the way back to 2023. If you know someone entering the space, please send them our website. Really feel like it can help them get started and caught up to where we are today. And a brand new article dropped this week, X402. Learn all about it in these articles. They're 4 to 5 minute reads. You guys can jump through them very quickly and we have one every single week. So every week in the past, you can just jump one from another to another and really get caught up on everything that's been happening in the Bitcoin and crypto ecosystems. If you guys need a VPN to use something like Hyperliquid, or to use pretty much anything that doesn't need KYC, you can get this NordVPN. And NordVPN, in my opinion, is the best VPN because I use it every single day, and I'm able to put myself in different servers. So a lot of VPNs will just put you on a random server. With Nord, you can pick, if you want to be in Australia, if you want to be in Italy, if you want to be here or there, you can actually set the place you want to be. Right now, I've been using Italy a lot. It seems to be able to use everything. Like I said, I'm able to use MEXC, which in my opinion is the best way to on and off ramp. Let's just say you have a Bitcoin and you want to go into Ethereum. It'll cost you like 35 cents to do the full switch and withdrawal. Highly recommend doing that if you haven't. And you can do up to like 6 Bitcoin before you have to, in a week before you have the KYC. So you don't have to worry about that. You get a long time before you need a KYC there. And anyway, too, I mean, Hyperliquid's been something that's taken the entire crypto verse by storm, right? And definitely want to check that out if you haven't yet. And with a VPN, that'll allow you to do it. Check it here. You pay $2.99 a month, lock it in, set it for 2 years, set it, forget it, pay the $80 or whatever it is, and be done with it. Highly recommend Nord. And on top of that, if you guys need merch, we have some of the best merch in all of crypto: hats, jackets, shirts, and much more. Check everything out here at onchainrevolution.io. Remember, guys, we are live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 3 p.m. UTC. Check us out all week, guys, and until tomorrow.
Peace.
On-chain revolution, roll call, market recap. You not bullish enough, no. You're not bullish enough, no. Look at the price go, Bitcoin control. Why you still coping? Price action rolling. Don't fall for bear trap. Swapping indexes and putting it up in the sex. I can take profit right now. On-chain is where I be now. You can never look back. They don't want you to know. How did the market react? Fear and greed gotta adapt. Now we bridging the tokens and arching the network right now. You know how crazy we are. Nookies are savages now. They know how crazy we are. Chain abstraction, main attraction. On-chain revolution.